pure emotionalism. And a lot of the arguments in favor of euthanasia are based on rhetoric and emotion and hyperbole. And as I said, this compelling case, this terrible case of a couple who apparently leapt to their deaths. Lisa Globe, Campaign Life Coalition, joins us. It's a terrible case, but it proves nothing at all.
Absolutely not. And I mean, if we look at other states like Oregon, or even in Belgium, 32% of people with disabilities or who are in pain died without request. So this is ultimately
32%.
32%, which is
and they're reliable figures.
Yes, absolutely.
So that would be the family giving consent?
Yes, the family or even the patient, especially with regards to physician-assisted suicide. So,
I mean, you said that they didn't give consent, so if the person who's killed doesn't give consent, that means it's either the family or it's a doctor making a decision.
Right.
And either way, I don't want someone else giving their authority that I should be killed. I mean, many would like it, but I don't want that to happen.
Exactly, and you hear of so many elderly couples who are just afraid to go to the hospital because they're afraid of what's going to happen or what the result will be. Yes, it's a very tragic case. You know, the neighbors, like you said, giving interviews saying that it was very tragic, especially a couple of them who actually helped them on a regular basis. But one even said that, you know, when the husband was in the, he would often go down to the lobby, and she would talk to him, and he would say that he was depressed. And like you said in your monologue, you know, when these patients go to the hospital, and they were going frequently for trying to get pain relief, they should be screened for these depression tests. They should be given these caregiver support groups, because ultimately they won't have to think or go to the very end.
That's the point, isn't it? I'm not blaming doctors here, because our medical system will have to change. What's happening now is because there's so little funding, there's prioritization. We know, and again, I'm not blaming people for this, but if it's a couple close to death chronologically anyway, that doctor hasn't got the time to really deal with and make sure there's an end-of-life specialist, a pain management expert. They know what they're doing, but they'll never have that allocated, and so they go to her, they're on their own. Some of the people now saying it was so tragic, some helped, not all of them helped, and they feel depressed, and then they talk themselves into there is no point, and it's over. Well, that's no solution to this problem. The solution is to help them.
Absolutely. And these support groups are out there, especially for Alzheimer's patients, but just for caregivers in general, and it can be a very strenuous task. I mean, Marika, the woman, she was in a wheelchair, she had chronic pain, he himself suffered from different pain. So just to have all that burden and to even go out of your house and go on bi-weekly basis to the doctor can be very strenuous. So it ultimately is very tragic, and I don't think that it should be made out to be any type of a compassionate case, or even some people are saying like a tragic love story, like they wanted to die together. I don't think that would definitely deal with the problem at hand.
No, and we don't know the details of what happened even at this stage. But Dr. Lowe, who just a month ago died, and I knew him, and a fine man, and it was a tragic loss. But he said at one point in the interview, if those people who oppose euthanasia could spend 24 hours in my body, with all due respect to him, and he was a great man, there are people who spend every day in such a body and are outspoken opponents of euthanasia. I don't think just experience can create the argument. There are severe dangers here. It's no accident that the vast majority of doctors oppose this.
Yeah, and I don't think that these patients who, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but those who do have chronic pain, or those euthanasia proponents who are suffering, what kind of stress they're under and what kind of pressure they're under to actually be vocal proponents of euthanasia, because, like you said, a lot of people who do suffer from various disabilities do not want euthanasia. The overwhelming majority. The elderly are scared to go into the hospitals. Like the target groups for the euthanasia. You
mean Belgium and Holland and
stuff? Yeah, the target groups. They don't want this.
It's certainly true. I mean, there have been surveys that older people and people suffering have anxieties now. It seems, though, cases like this, there are more and more people, young people, who are changing their mind on euthanasia. I think the country is still pretty much divided, but do you think you're going to lose this one the same way the abortion issue and others were lost?
I certainly hope not. I hope that, the respect for life at this level, and we have strong enough arguments. And I mean, they haven't won so far, and there's been a strong push for it in Quebec and in different parties. So I hope not. Yeah.
I hope not too. Well, I think there are enough people still speaking out against it. Let's hope.
Yes.
Appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.